We on? Yes, episode number 21. Okay, so I'm back in the studio with my friend John Walden. It's his studio, so his turf on his home base here at Revocation Radio. I've got my friend Randy Pardue. Randy is hey, we learned the title last week. Okay, cue the drum roll. You have a drum roll that we can actually insert? Probably not. Cultural architect.
Yes.
Man, that is the best title. I think I'm going to
steal it.
Yeah, I mean, people would probably get that and laugh, though. They'd go, yeah, you're not a cultural architect. You're something. We were dialoguing in the previous episode about parenting.
Yes.
Before we roll into that, I want to just direct you right now, housekeeping, down to the show notes. There is a list of stuff down there for you. A couple of those items are going to relate to Randy's podcast, Randy's mini course, Randy's coaching, discovery call with Randy. You're rolling out some mastermind groups, like some community cohorts and things where people can get more action. Also, I want to call your attention to, I have dialogued about the GY6 project for, I don't know, a couple weeks. John, you're shaking your head like talking about it ad nauseum. I kind of have on purpose because I want people to know about it. It's a really great tool that's going to help a lot of people, I think, overcome the past hurts that would be kind of post-traumatic stress, as well as moral injury is kind of that guilt and shame component. And so we're doing a workshop on that in January. All the details are going to be on the link in the show notes below, as well as by the time you're kind of listening to this, there will probably be other workshops that are coming up. But the first one, boom, that day. And I think that day, I'm gonna be the cultural architect of healing soul and spirit hurts, Randy. That's it. I'm gonna be the cultural architect for a day. All right. Let's get into it. Yep. So in the previous episode, we talked about you and Tammy got a redo at parenting because you had 3 kids that were grown almost out of the house, and then you had another one. It's like, I was going to say an oops baby, but there really isn't. It's kind of oops to you. Like, surprise. Yeah. But, the scripture says God knew us before time began. Yeah. He foreordained the days that we were going to walk. He knit us together intentionally in the womb. He knows the times and seasons in which we're going to live, which means that he chose those kids for you.
That's right.
And chose you for them, which leans into something that you've really said a lot, which is, hey, you got to love the kids you've got.
That's right.
They are the charge God has given you because you're the one that can do it the best.
That's right.
And they're the ones who need what you have. And so when you put that perspective on it and go, okay, this is ordained by God. This is chosen by God. And then you walk them through, you said 3 stages of parenting. Okay, so we're not going to get into excessively the first 2 because you could just get the rewind and go back and listen. Yeah. Or they can go to, I wrote it down, it was episode 8 of your podcast.
Yeah.
You talk about it at length.
Sure. And
people can even listen to how your adult kids weighing in on what you did a good job with and what you're like, we didn't really understand that, but it's so stage 1, 0 to 5, that's going to be the discipline phase.
Yep.
You're building a foundation.
Sure.
Stage 2, we're going to move from discipline to training. That's going to be approximately 6 to 12.
Yep.
And that's where we're getting some soft skills, starting to hit some targets. Stage 3, that's where we want to dialogue today. You're moving to the coaching phase. Tell me what that means about coaching.
Yeah, come on. I'm excited about that. And just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, I think it's important for parents to understand that they are enough to raise their kids, like you were saying. One of the things that we teach is the fact that you were made for this day.
Yeah.
Right? Acts 17:26 says God appointed the exact times and places in which we live and the boundaries in which we find ourselves. And so that lets me know that I was here by design for this purpose in this day. So every parent should know that. And this day was made for them, right? When if you come to Christ, there's the reality that he has prepared good works that we should do, that he prepared beforehand. So I was made for this day, and this day was made for me. I was made to be that child's parent, and that's what's going on. And I'm the one that's charged with it. And so you should know that, right? And parenting is more about a mindset and an attitude than anything else. If I could help you with any of that, I would tell you that's the most important thing you can do. If you're present with your kids and you have a desire to grow yourself, and you're honest and transparent with your kids, good stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it's just important that we do that. That's kind of a segue into the coaching area, because a lot of times it's in that stage that parents will usually want to talk to us, because they feel like they don't know what to do. Because you start getting a kid who's the same height as you are, and in that junior high age, and they're starting to flex, especially for a mom, because guys are built to lead. And so if a mom doesn't recognize this, and then she feels her son kind of bucking up on her a little bit, one, as a dad, I have to explain, you're not going to do that to the wife that God gave to me.
Correct.
And and now I have proof. Hey, I made you. I can take you out of this world and make another one just like you. Look at your little brother, man. But it's important that we understand that this is a difficult phase. If you haven't done the other, this becomes a little more complicated.
So if you didn't go back and do self-control in the discipline phase, 0 to 5.
Yep.
And if you didn't do training was 6 to 12.
Yep. You still have to hit those phases.
Okay.
Only now you're in a crunch time, and that's not a panic mode. That just understand.
No, it's just you got to do it.
They need self-control, and they need to be able to do for themselves. Do whatever they can for themselves, right? Like, don't do anything for them that they can do themselves. You have to do that, and you have to be there. Those are the two mantras at those earlier stages.
Well, I've seen, when you get, it's almost like when you get into this phase of, the 13 up, you still have to go back and pick up some things. So it's not like you just graduate and leave like, oh, well, I'm done. I don't have to go back to elementary school ever again. Because there are things, 13, 14, 15-year-olds where, we have, a couple of our kids, they'll mumble, instead of speaking and projecting. And it just sounds disrespectful.
Yep.
Or they'll roll their eyes, and it's still like, oh, wait, this is going back and stuff that's already been handled that they're doing very well.
Yep.
But it's still, oh, hey, now we got to add another lesson from.
Exactly.
So it's not like you get to leave it and then, oh, we're never doing that again.
No, that's kind of why we call it coaching. And if you were in football, if you ever knew all of that, Vince Lombardi made he had a team that had just kind of crashed and burned. It was doing terrible. And so his big speech was, he held up a ball and said, let's get back to the basics. This is a football, right?
Yeah.
And so you're always, as a coach, having to go back to the basics, right? You look at any team when they do debriefing of that, it's like somebody failed to block, which is a simple thing. They should have known. You get down, here's how it happens. But they forgot it, and so you have to remind them. And so that's what we're doing in this coaching phase. We're doing a lot of, hey, remember when we said this? Remember what happened when you did that last time?
Right.
And here's what happened, right? And so you're teaching them those things. It's a different animal in the coaching phase because these guys know everything. And you should know that going into it. They know more than you. They're smarter than you. They're faster than you in their mind.
Yeah, in their
a
mind.
lot of ways they are. You have trouble with your phone. You just give it to you can even give it to a 5-year-old and he'll figure out what's going wrong with it faster than you will. And so the things that you're still going to teach them, but at this moment they know everything. Lecturing. Here's what I would suggest if there's mantras in all of these. There's a little formula that we learned. Rules minus relationship will equal rebellion. And so if you want to really hone in on this 13 to 18-year-old, it's all about relationship. One more rule isn't going to fix your kid, and that's the tendency to do. Well, no, stop it with the rule.
You could take that as a freedom, though. Like, hey,
absolutely.
Like instilling that rule in them, it ain't going to help.
Yeah, no.
So, like, save yourself the.
Yeah, you can do it, and you can ground them. You can take the car keys. You can do all of those things. But if you don't have a relationship with them, you're going to pay for it a lot the rest of your life until,
Jesus comes back.
Yeah, or conviction happens in the heart of a child or you, right? And so we're trying to help you avoid that. And so the thing that we're doing here is wisdom. We're just trying to give them wisdom. Wisdom is different than knowledge, right? Knowledge is an understanding of a factual aspect of things. Wisdom is learning how it works together. That's a really basic. There's a broader and deeper level, but that's really what we're talking about.
Oh, what you just said was really good because a lot of these kids that think they know everything and can look up anything on their smartphone that you bought for them when they were 5.
That's
So
right.
you got it too soon.
That's
so
right.
it's on you.
Yeah.
No, it's they can look it up. What they have access to is a lot of knowledge and information.
Absolutely.
They do not have wisdom.
Right.
Wisdom is kind of the practical application of all the knowledge and wisdom.
Yes, and that's what we want them to have, right? In fact, I mean, Solomon says that, right?
Yeah.
Above all, get
wisdom.
right? I mean, that's the chief thing.
Not get information.
Right. And so what we're learning to do is, this is where, like in the training phase, the training wheels are still on. At some point, you have to take the training wheels off, and they're going to fall and wreck. It's going to happen when they're riding a bike. It happens in life. I'm not talking about a fatality. I'm just talking about they're going to stumble, and they're going to mess up, right? The lecture isn't the answer there. It's about listening to, hey, what were you thinking when you did that? What was going at this point? I'm trying to learn their thought process because, again, that's where all the problem is. If you listen to the first episode, we talked about a thought leads to an attitude, and that attitude is the windshield through which we see life, and that attitude produces an action. And so if the activity and the attitudes are bad, it's because the thought process, they need a reprogramming, right?
So you're taking as a coach back to, hey, let's get inside. What's going on in your head?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yep. So, hey, what were you thinking when you got on that group chat and blistered some guy, and now everybody sees it and you're getting called into the principal for bullying? All right. So, I mean, and that's a situation that happens a lot these days, right? And so your goal is, well, I'm taking your phone away. That you can do that, but maybe we just figure out what was the thought process, because somewhere empathy got lost when you thought it was okay to just call a kid something in a group chat that you would never say to his face.
It could have been a character issue, or it could have been they were just hurt.
Right.
Or it could have been, I mean, there's so many factors.
So we're taking and trying to help them apply knowledge and get some wisdom in the process. So this is how it works in that age. I guess I'm trying to give you some examples of what that looks like.
Now, one of the best things that I think you told me one time was, and I may get the kid wrong, but like Jackson was contemplating buying a truck.
Yeah.
I think, and y'all, I mean, it was his decision.
Yep.
But I mean, you literally talked him through, okay, how much is that truck going to cost? Okay, how much are the payments going to be?
Yep.
Okay, what's the insurance going to do? You can make the decision.
Yep.
But you're really just coaching him through.
That's right.
And then
Yep.
he made the decision for him, which was he didn't buy it.
So if I can teach them the long game, which is
Yeah,
what wisdom
which is what you did.
Wisdom is seeing the long game, right?
Yeah.
Then this is what happens. We do the same thing when this age they're starting to date. And one of the things I would tell my kids, hey man, I don't want you dating unless you're ready to get married. And they're like, well, why? Well, let's talk about it. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to have, somewhere along the line, there's going to be that first kiss. You may have already had it, but for this sake, hey, and then, hey, that's fun. And it's hard to turn that switch off once it gets there. And so you got about 6 months or 8 months or whatever, and you're going to be wanting to do things that you shouldn't do, and now you're in trouble. Or you're in this relationship, and then you realize, I don't like that girl, and you go, or guy, and I'm just going to break up. Well, but you said y'all were going together, whatever that is, or dating, or whatever those terms are. But what you're doing is setting yourself up to go, hey, I love you until I don't, which is the reason why there's a lot of divorce going on in the world. That's simple wisdom that we're talking about teaching I know it sounds heavy, but I'm just saying those are the way we're trying to help them see why we make decisions that we do.
Yeah.
And so it's helpful in that area. And so in the coaching phase, we're trying to teach them several things. And these attitudes that I push really in my kids, I'm dealing with my grandkids right now. I'm moving that's a whole nother level, and I'm loving what's going on in the grandparenting phase of life for us, because I'm seeing a bigger picture than my kids can see, and I partner with them, I'm not opposing them. That's a whole nother deal. I'm sorry. But one of the things that's crucial in this are 4 attitudes, and they come from the Scriptures. Paul gives them to us, and he says, above all, in light of this high calling. Now, for him, he was talking about as believers in Christ who carry the name of Christ, right? I won't get into the whole aspect of that, but he says, I want these 4 attitudes in you. Be completely humble, be completely gentle, be patient, and be forbearing. And so those words or what, if I had kids in high school today, those 4 words, I'd want them to know and understand and see how it applies. To be completely humble doesn't mean to think less of yourself. It means not to think of yourself. It's your eyes are up and out, not down and in. Sin forced us to focus on ourself. That's where pride comes in. And so our eyes are down and in. That's why they were naked and knew it. They were naked and unashamed because their eyes were up and out. When they sinned,
yeah, they were.
Yeah, right. And then when they sinned, their eyes turned down and in.
Yeah.
And so that's the principle that we want our kids to understand. Hey, listen, life is meant to be lived with your eyes up and out, not on yourself. A selfish, self-absorbed, prideful life is a destructive, terrible choice to make in life. So let's learn what it means to be humble. We're not saying you're less than anybody. We're saying that you're not focused on you right now. You're focused on the other person. You can get your kid to do that. They're going to soar in life because that's an attractional quality that's missing in the world, that kind of humility. And so we teach that. We teach completely gentle. Hey, listen, you're going to be tougher and stronger than most guys or gals or whatever and more witty, and you can dominate. But how about we just be gentle with people? How about we give people the benefit of the doubt more than anything else? So these are the principles that we teach. I want my kids to understand what patience looks like. Patience means I'm unmoved by my circumstances. That's a great working definition of patience. I'm unmoved by my circumstances. Oh, man, I had a wreck. Yeah, that sucks too. But let's don't go crazy and have a pity party about that.
Or this person did that.
Yeah.
Or
So that's the forbearance, right?
Yeah.
That word, and so I use whereas patience is unmoved by circumstances. Forbearance means I'm unmoved by people.
Oh, that's when it gets to relational. Yeah.
And so my kids say, "Oh, that made me so mad." I say, "Hey, can we have a timeout on that?" Nobody put a gun to your head and say, "We want you to get angry." You made that choice. You can't control what other people do, but you can always control how you respond to what other people. That sounds like a coach, doesn't it? But I mean, that's
the role, though. Like that's
exactly right.
That's what you said. Yeah.
And so I'm not lecturing so much as advising and saying, "Hey, do you remember these principles? Remember this? Remember that? This is why we have them." And so in the coaching phase, this is kind of what we're working through, and we're just trying to teach things like, "Hey, how do you make wise choices? How do you choose your friends? Why'd you pick them to be your friend? Why? You know, and we talked about realities, right, of life. We talk about wisdom and what's the wisest thing. I think that's a great question. What's the wisest thing to do here, right? I mean, you got this choice here. You know, I could go to the ball game or I could study. Well, what's the wisest thing? You know, if you can figure them both out, hey, I'm all for you going to a ball game. But maybe you should just say, what's the wisest thing to do here? And don't assume what I think is the wisest. You have to figure that out.
Well, because they got to be able to figure that out when they're 21, 23, 25, 30.
And this is the hard part of parenting, because if they go, well, I'm going to go to the game, and then they come back and they fail that test.
Told you so.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Yeah, and so then you can have that conversation. Hey, man, how's that feel? What do you think you're going to do now? You know, because this could jeopardize this or that, and right. And so we're not trying to put a little bubble suit on them so they don't get hurt. They're going to struggle. I'd let them make all the struggles they can while they're in my house.
Yeah, right.
So I can help train them.
You can help them out of it, yeah.
And so that's how you think through that coaching phase.
I remember it's been a couple years ago. We had one of our girls at the time, late teens, was making what I felt like and what her mother felt like were some very bad decisions. And so I may have told you about this before, and she wouldn't mind me saying this. Like, we've talked through it. We've told the story enough and laughed about it because she's way on the other side of it and is doing phenomenal.
Sure.
But, you know, she kept just kind of pushing back. We're talking. We're in the living room, and we're dialoguing about it. And I said something to the effect of, hey, look, it just seems to me like you are headed fast and furious straight into a brick wall. And her reply was, well, look, like y'all just, and me and her mom are in there. Y'all just got to let me like do it. It's like my life. I can make my decisions. Like, it's my brick wall. And if I want to hit the brick wall, you got to let me hit it. And I looked at her. I remember saying, okay, buckle up, and just kind of motioned my hands. And she hit it. Yep. And then, you know, we were there to talk with her through some things. But I mean, I think what she was driving at was, I'm kind of stepping. She wasn't asking for advice at that point. Yeah. And as the coach, like I probably took it too far, you know, and should have, you know, made the point. Here's how you run the play. Okay, well, you go run a different play. Great. So she pushed back, but I mean, obviously the relationship was there because after she hit that wall and then probably hit another one on the other side of it, it was, hey, okay, I'm ready to reassess.
Sure. And that's what's crucial. So in that, had she had an ability to have some values in place and some habits maybe, to kind of help buttress those issues, but we don't know what we don't know until we're in the situation.
She did have some values in place. They were just the wrong values because the mindset was she was perfectly living out of.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, in this one, it seems like what you're saying is you let people live out a lot of their natural consequences.
They have to, right? And so I think because that's how they learn. That's how I learned. And so if I can do that, if they happen while I'm with them, then hopefully they don't do it down the road. Now, if they'll listen to me, I can help coach them through things. If they don't want to, I'm okay. I'll wait till the back end, right?
You can help them now or later.
I'm always going to be there.
Because you're not going to remove the relationship during the coaching phase because the player executes the play in a different direction than you thought.
Yep. And so that's why it goes back to those attitudes of being completely humble, gentle, patient, and forbearing. If I can deep seed those in my kid's life, it's a game changer for them.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we teach this in almost everything we do, especially in the business culture side, identity, values, and habits. And so real quickly I can tell you, because that's what we do in this coaching phase, that kids, like we all have labels. We have an identity. We have a false identity, and then we have a truer identity. Like listen, somebody calls you fat or somebody calls you whatever, and you think that, and you decide to embrace that. Well, then there's a reality there. That's your reactive self. And so now you've either embraced it or you're the most fit guy on the planet, right? I mean, one of those things is going to happen. So if we can teach our kids, hey, listen, there's a false you that you've allowed other people to say who you are. Some of them you have embraced. It's the reactive you. Some of you have rejected and you've gone down this way. Let's get to the true you, right? And so I know this sounds like a lot of psychology, but it's really not. It's just helping people understand who they really are at the core. At this point, I want my kids to know who they are in Christ. I want them to know that they are forgiven by Him, and that's an eternal thing. You no longer have to ask forgiveness. It's something that is yours, and so that's a game changer. And so I want them to understand some of these principles of identity, and then we talk about values. What values will you hold? And so I want my kids to know the golden rule. I want them to understand the second mile. I want them to know how to think deeper and better than others. I'd like them to have an elite mindset, and I'd like for them to be attractional people, right? That's that intangible. You know what it feels like when you go to a party and you leave away and you go, man, I really like that guy. At the core of what you liked about that guy was he was humble, he was gentle, he was patient, he was forbearing for the most part. That's what you're going to like.
Which is back to as a parent, you got to have that too. Like you got to be unmoved by what those kids do during this phase to where you're in regardless of what they do as you instill that.
Absolutely. And so this is where it's more of you're listening and then you're praying and ask the Lord to give you wisdom of how to really teach these kids these things.
Yeah.
Because then once they have those values, then you want to teach them habits. They should have already learned these, but they need to have certain habits. They need what we call word up. They need to know how to communicate. Like how to ask a question and create a conversation without just yes, no's. And what does that look like? And so we would practice those things. We talk about order up. Like you got to have order in your life. Nothing good comes out of chaos. Your room or your car. Let's just put some order to that. How you study, order. Anyway, there's 9 of these little habits that we kind of wander through in the course of parenting so that I wanted all of our kids to have these, because habits are bridges that get you to where you want to be. You're not what you think you want to be. You're your habits. And so
you are the result of the actions that you're doing every day, which are habits.
You're not your goals. You're your habits.
The goals are the result of the habits.
And so that's an important, I know this sounds more like not hands-on, more mind-on in parenting, but that's really what you're doing.
That's the role. It's coaching.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think in your mini course, you've got all of those.
I think so.
You teach all that. So the link's down in the show notes. Let's pivot and, talk through, here's the question. Okay, that's a lot. all of it.
Yep.
So when do you teach this stuff? Because, schedules are so tight.
Sure.
And they're so busy, and it's, I can't sit down and coach my kid for an hour a day, or fill in the blank of whatever people think it is. So you've got this thing called the flow, and I like it because it, as kind of teasing it up, it allows people to not do something extra. It allows them to capture the time that they already have.
That's right.
When they're already in those moments, it just kind of repurposes moments. And also, it doesn't look to doing something big and massive.
Yep.
It's looking at the everyday small stuff.
Yes.
So let's walk through the flow.
Sure.
And make some comments on, okay, what are we doing with that?
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite aspects of things, because you can do it anywhere, anytime, and this is how it works. And I always start with a bedtime routine. And, here's what I remind parents, too. There's going to come a time when you're no longer going to tuck that little baby in bed and pray with them and get them that glass of water and read that book to them. You're not going to know when it's going to happen. You're just going to realize, has it happened to you already, right?
No, yeah, it did. And in fact, this week, I talked to two different guys that are young dads.
Yeah.
And both of them have small kids, even smaller than John's.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about, he goes, man, one of them, my kids are so busy. And his little boys were, man, they're running everywhere. And they're in the room with it, very well-mannered.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bet you're tired. And he said, I am. And I said, just keep on going, because there's going to be a time where this is going to just disappear.
Yeah.
And then you're going to look back and go, oh, man, if I could just do it a couple more times.
I know it.
And it's just gone.
Absolutely. And so I'm saying put that off as long as if they're willing and you can, put them to bed.
Yeah, tuck them in.
Here's what's happening right now, and I hear it all the time. Man, we're just tired. I'm trying to get the kids. I just want an hour apiece, right? And so the whole thing is get upstairs and get to bed. And no, you're not getting any more water. No, you whatever, right? And it's just this yelling match. One more word, and I'm coming up there. And the whole point is because you want to go binge some Netflix thing on TV. I mean, I sound like a little judgy there, maybe.
You can still do that, but what you're saying is, no, let's do something intentional for 20, 25 minutes or whatever before that.
Yeah, so look.
Or not even that long.
Let them get the water. Let them do, I got to have this. I got to have that. Do all that. But here's what we want to do. This is not the time that they're going to go to bed having heard your last words louder than the decibel level should have been or harsher than it was intended to be. This is a time that it's almost like the lullaby phase, right? I mean, that's kind of what it is. And so here's where we're going to focus on the love language, right? So if they're touched, if that's what it is, man, hey, just rub their back, man, while you're reading to them. Or maybe if it's the words of affirmation, hey, man, I saw how you did that to your mom. She really appreciated it. I'm sure she's going to tell you, but in case she doesn't, I want you to know I saw what you did.
Yeah.
Right? We're just feeding that love language, because that subconscious, now we're getting to the science of things, but the subconscious never goes to sleep. The last thoughts you have before you go to bed, your brain will keep working that. That's why sometimes you write down, you got a problem, you write something down, you wake up, you fixed it.
You got the solution. Right.
Einstein proved that theory to us, and he said that was what it was. So you want the kids' last thoughts to be some really good thoughts in that process. And so that's where, you're going to say, hey, man, how'd your day go? What'd you think where'd you mess up, right? And the only reason you're asking that is because you can go, man, aren't you glad for grace? It's okay. Tomorrow's another day. We'll get that right. And then that's when you want to be vulnerable and say, hey, here's what I did when I was a kid, right? This is you getting to tell your kids, hey, listen, I was a kid once too, and I know what it feels like to screw up, right? You're just letting all the junk that the world's pushed on them fall off on that bedroom.
So you get to
routine.
do the reset right then.
Man, yes, all the time. It's a constant thing. Be vulnerable with them. Be gracious with them. Open your life up to them. Let them see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Pray for them. Man, just teach them what it feels like to be forgiven and have the past behind us, and let the sun go down on this stuff. We're not worried about it anymore. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right. That's a great. That's all you're doing, and anybody can do that. So then let's talk about the morning routine. That's because this is the chaotic aspect too, because everybody wants to hit the snooze one more time or whatever, and they've figured traffic out and they're doing all of that stuff, and they just want to get out the door. Hey, here's a bar, just get out of here. Man, I'm just saying, get up 30 minutes early yourself. Just set the alarm. Get up, get yourself ready.
So you as the parent are not rushed.
That's right. I want to have all my stuff together. I want to get them up a little earlier than normal. I don't want to be yelling at, get dressed. We got to.
We're in a hurry. It's
I know.
Pop-Tarts or nothing.
Because this is the start of the day, right? How a day starts says so much about what's going on. So the mindset of a parent is, I want them to have an update. I want them to know who they are and what they can accomplish this day. This is my pregame speech before we go hit the field, right? And so I'm going to get up earlier. We're going to sit around, have some breakfast or whatever together.
And this doesn't mean you got to cook a bunch of pancakes.
No,
I mean,
it
you
could
can
be
do
anything.
Yeah, you can do a muffin or a Pop-Tart.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
We're just, this isn't the, I want my kids to understand some mantra kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so I want them to know who they are. What was it in The Help when Abilene was saying to May, you is kind, you is smart, you is important. I want my kids to know that.
Well, I grew up with Stuart Smalley on Saturday Night Live. I'm smart enough.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'm good enough.
Gosh darn it.
People like me. Yeah, that's
yeah. So I want to let them know, hey, listen, I want you to find one kid that needs somebody just to pay attention to them. Why don't you make that your goal today? Find somebody out there that you just look for that, right? What am I doing? I didn't tell them get their eyes up and out, but that one phrase helps to remember.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be some kid on the bus and he's going to be nervous, or there's going to be some kid over here and he's by himself or whatever, and you want to be that deal. And so this is the moment. That morning breakfast it's not a lecture, it's not a hurry up, let's go, don't make the same mistake you did yesterday. It's none of that. It's not don't do stuff, it's do stuff, right?
So you're going to be positive in pushing them towards.
Yeah. And so that's all we're doing. I wanted my kids to know who they were, man. Hey, listen, you're blessed to be here, and your teachers are blessed to have you, and so you should know that.
All right, so you've got two things you've said so far with the flow: bedtime, which is kind of setting the tone, ending the day.
Yep.
Identity, again, in the morning. Get up a
each
little
one
earlier.
has a different deal, right?
Yeah, so you can really breathe life into them and push them towards the day.
Yep. So then the next time you're going to see them is going to be carpool, right?
Yeah.
Or wherever that is. Maybe it's practice. Maybe it's homework.
I mean, carpool might be right after that breakfast.
It could be.
Or it might be, like I got to pick kids up this afternoon.
Yeah. So this is here's what we're doing here. We're just trying to get inside their head and explore and have fun.
Whenever you're in the car.
I'm in the car.
Like that's the tripwire. Whenever I'm in the car with the kids.
I'm going to ask them questions.
Okay.
I'll put them in scenarios, like whatever it is. I'm gonna throw them in one and go, hey, what are you gonna do, right? I mean, you got two girls, they both like you. What are you gonna? How are you gonna choose one over the other? What would you do about that? Or what would be the top 5 things that you think you want to have in a friend, right? Just questions like that. Some are goofy, some are not. I'm walking down the road with my grandkids the other day. I'm like, hey, go over there and ask that guy how many kids he's got. Like, they don't even know him. We don't even know if we have kids. And they're looking at me like, what? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I'll give you $5 if you go do it.
$5, man. I'll go hang out with you for $5.
And so all I'm doing is just trying to figure out who's got that kind of thing and who doesn't, right?
Yeah. This is not part of the flow, but I remember when Noah was little and I'm trying to teach him, go back to the early stage, building a foundation. I'm wanting him to learn to interact with people.
Yep.
And so we were going to a cookout at the church, and I'm trying to teach him to shake hands and look people in the eye.
Yeah, right.
And he was so, at that time, I mean, he's outgoing now, but he was so just bashful.
Yep.
And so I made this deal with him. I said, hey, if you go do it, when we get there, I will get you a Hot Wheels car. We'll stop on the way home, and I'll get you one.
Come on.
But if you do it with 5 guys while we're there, we'll get 3 Hot Wheels cars.
Yeah.
That was the thing he loved. I mean, we got out of that car.
Yep.
He instantly ran up to the first 5 guys. He said, hey, I'm Noah Jenkins. Good to meet you. I'm Noah.
Come on.
I mean, just boom, boom. But it was incentivizing the behavior we wanted, which is, you don't always have to give them money. No. But it was like there's something that you're saying about pushing them towards something.
Yep. One, you're one that helped them understand their personality type, all of those kind of things. They're learning all of that as you ask these questions. But some of my favorite questions are, hey, what best part of your day?
Yeah, so back in the car, asking questions.
How was your day? Fine. That's what you're going to get, right? Best part of your day, And if they got a friend in there, even better. But if they don't, then just listen to what that is. They go, hey, man, what emotion popped up that kind of that hit you today? What was it? Were you happy? Were you mad? What happened? I'm wanting to pull out of them their life, because I'll use that stuff to think through as a parent. Okay, well, maybe I need to help them figure these things out, right? So this is just me research. That's all I'm doing.
You're just gathering
research,
info.
Right? I'm not here fixing anything. I'm just listening. I'm just here for the party, right? I'm not going to start lecturing. I mean, sometimes it may call for it, but for the most part, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get to know my kids.
The goal's just to let them talk, is what it
that's
seems like.
And so any way I can do that, that's what I want to do. And I want that ride should be 80% of them talking, 20%. I use the 80-20 rule all the time on everything, but it ought to be that.
So this is like open-ended questions, not yes, no.
Yep. And hey, if you struggle with that, there's all kinds of things. Man, ask Chat GPT to give you 10 questions to ask your kids in the car, so you can learn about them. I mean, you don't have to overthink this thing.
Right.
And then just put them on the dashboard if you want to, or put them in your notes or whatever. But just learn how to ask really good questions to your kids. Is what we're doing here, because we're learning about them, because we'll use that to help them figure life out down the road. It's just research. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So then the other time is mealtime.
So there's only 4. So as far as the flow.
Yeah, there's 4 plus what we call directional gatherings, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. Yeah. So there's bedtime.
So this isn't overwhelming. Like you can remember this. This is
bedtime.
You're already doing this stuff anyway.
Lullaby. Feel grace. You're putting a blanket over them. We're having a good day. We're talking about grace. We're talking about, hey, I struggled, you struggled, we all did. Tomorrow's a due day. Mealtime.
I struggled, you struggled. I like ice cream. You scream. We all scream for ice cream better.
The morning routine's all about, hey man, you got this day.
Yeah.
Own it. It's yours, right? Here's what it looks like, and let's be others oriented. Let's be people of humility and gentleness. Let's be patient. Let's be forbearing, right? Let's put up with people. Let's figure this thing out, and then we're going to send them on the road. And then carpool is like, hey man, let's just have some fun and dream about some things. And where if you could, you get all of a sudden you got outlawed in the state of Alabama, man. Where are you going to live, right? That's a great question. Kids love to start answering that question. And so there's just any kind of question you can do. That's what you're doing. Then we get to mealtime.
I've got 1 or 2 kids before you get to mealtime that are so. They're so literal. They'd be like, "What? Why did they get outlawed?"
Yeah, right.
Did y'all get outlawed?
Yeah.
Okay, mealtime.
Yeah. So mealtime, and I realize in so many families now. I mean, back when we were raising some of our kids, you practice ball one day, you played on Saturday. Now it's like it's infinite time stealer of everything. If you can get a meal one night a week, that'd be awesome. I mean, if you can get the more you can get, the better. But at least have one.
But if you just make the goal go at least one time, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, and we're going to sit down at the table. We're not sitting in the den at the coffee table. We're not doing that. Nobody's got their phone. There's a basket over there. And that mealtime, we're just going to process some things through the day. Hey, man, what was a good, bad, and ugly of your day, right? We're going to talk about that. When we were younger, we would memorize verses together that we thought were important as a family, and so we would just memorize. We had a little bread, one of those cheesy little daily bread things. You pull a little.
Oh, it's a plastic.
Yeah.
A plastic container of bread that had a little card you pull out. It's got a memory verse.
Exactly. I think you got them at the Baptist bookstore, which is no longer, but that was where
probably
you got
because they were only selling daily bread, plastic. Right. Anyway.
And so then what you want to do is get them used to group vulnerability because it's safe. Like, hey, where'd you screw up today? Now, this isn't just you and them. This is like in the family. And so then you can learn what those dynamics look like.
Right.
And so what you want to do is for that to be a family. There should be safety there. We started doing these New Year's Eve when my kids were the first 3 were in college, and they would come home for break. We would get together somewhere during that deal, and we would have the good, the bad, the ugly, a great meal and this. It was some of the most redemptive times I've ever experienced as a dad, because you've got one kid apologizing to another for something that happened 3 years ago, but it got brought up in college, and they're with a friend, and they thought, man, I feel like a jerk, and I just want to tell you I'm sorry for what happened. It was crazy.
Yeah.
The things that took place in that. But so that's kind of what you're wanting to do, is just create an opportunity where we're going to talk a little bit of scripture. We're going to understand that there's good in the day, there's bad in the day, and there's ugly in the day. But it's all good, right? I mean, Solomon says, enjoy the day the chief thing to do is to eat a meal and celebrate the day. That's how Solomon says it, I think, 4 different times in the scriptures. And so we want that to be that. We made the meals fun when they were younger. When I grew up, we had geography. I don't know if they teach that anymore, but we had geography. And so if we were studying Mexico, then at the end of that week, all the mothers would show up on that Friday, and we would dress like Mexicans, and we would eat Mexican food. And if it was Italian, we'd do this. So we used to do that at our house, man. There'd be times the kids would all go get ties. We'd eat pasta, we'd eat Italian. We'd all put ties on. We'd sit at the table. It was fun. We just made it fun. And we listened to Italian music while we ate, because I wanted it to be like, hey, they look forward to that meal. As they get older, it gets a little sillier than that, but anyway, that's kind of what we do in that mealtime. So the whole goal is just to bring some I like bringing the truth to that. Like that's where I would read a passage of scripture, or we would read a verse together. We would try to memorize one. And then we would just learn to be vulnerable with each other. It was a good part of the deal. And so that basically are the 4 phases. And then we do what we call directional gatherings. And I think parents don't do these enough. When I say directional gathering, you should call a family meeting occasionally and reset. Right? Things have gotten chaotic, and so you're frustrated, or they're frustrated, or you feel the tension. Call a family meeting. We would let any of our kids could call a family meeting anytime they wanted to. And so we'd all sit down at the kitchen table, and they'd air their grievance. And
air their grievance,
and,
okay.
Yeah, we appreciate that. You know, just having that ability. And then sometimes I'd say, hey, listen, I've seen the way you guys are treating your mom, and I get it. You're older. And you know, I know sometimes she's saying things and she feels like she's mothering you and you want to be a man. I get all that. But you can't say those things to her, not in that tone, right? And so that's when you say that. Or, hey, listen, you guys, y'all got to figure, I don't know what's going on here, but y'all need to figure this out. Right?
When 2 of the siblings are at odds with each other.
We're just going to have an honest conversation. So, those are powerful meetings. It resets.
So the directional gathering's not a like daily flow. That's as needed.
Yeah.
Call it and reset based on what direction are we headed? Where do we want to go? What's the bigger picture?
Yeah, this is just hey, let's just reset everything, because we all need that. Right? I mean, that's why we have date night kind of thing, you know, and some of those things. It's just to kind of create an environment. Fire pits is the other thing that we do. Man, I learned that. I mean, you learn that when you're a student pastor. You know, you get a kid around a fire and they're all going to start talking or crying or something. It's what's going to happen. And so I got 3 fire pits at my house now. And when we go to the beach, we have one. We go to them. We just got back from the mountains, man. We all sat around the fireplace, and as a family, all that could gather. It was incredible.
You got a fire pit, John? You guys, yeah.
You get the kids around a fireplace, and John's an old youth guy, so he knows what to do. You know, and man, we would just start talking. Hey, what do you love? Let's talk about Abby. What do y'all love about Abby? And you know, man, it's amazing when you sit around a fire. They're not. I mean, they're going to have a few goofy things, you know, that they'll say.
Yeah, of course.
But at some point, she's going to start crying because she's going to realize her brothers see her,
right,
and they love her. And man, I'm telling you, to see that happen as a family, if you can get that fire pit thing down where you're just, again, the phones are horrible things these days because people are chained to them. But if you can ever get away from that and out in the outdoors like that around our fireplace and indoors, but just that conversation stuff, it's crazy what'll happen.
Yeah.
That's when you have, it's similar to carpool, but the conversation's more intense.
Well, you're not headed somewhere to where something else is on your mind, like a physical location. You know, you're just fully present.
Yep.
You're not in one mode from point A to point B.
Sure.
You're there.
So that's kind of what we call directional gatherings. That's what we're talking about, a family meeting, a fire pit. Sometimes we'd do experiences. I wanted our kids to go whitewater rafting. Abby hated the thought of doing that. She wanted to pout the whole way because she was just not that girl. Back then, now she's crazy with it. But we would get,
But she wouldn't have been if she didn't have to endure it before.
That's right.
Just know, hey, no, look, we're going to do this. You don't ever have to do it again, but we're doing it.
Yeah. We climbed the chimneys in Gatlinburg, and some of the kids were like, oh, I don't want to climb the chimneys, but now they talk about
it. The chimney.
It's the peak in Gatlinburg. You've never been there?
No, I've been to Gatlinburg way too many times.
Okay.
It is
if you climb the chimneys,
it is the aspen. It is the redneck aspen.
The top of it is about 3 feet wide and about 6 feet that way. And
okay.
You can look in every direction. It's a crazy hike.
Oh, I should have climbed the chimney.
But you should have. But anyway, we just giving them experiences where they have to do some hard things sometimes. Is good. And so all of that together will let you take your blueprint that you created and begin to go, okay, well, here's where I can use one of these flow areas and I'll figure this thing out. So for you, it's maybe a Sunday night. You're going to sit around and go, okay, what am I going to focus on this week, right? And kind of get your game plan together for the week.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're somewhat prepared for that. I mean, some of us, you and I, and John probably too, just instinctively could do it without any notes because we just live life that way.
I can't do it without notes. I got too much. Like I have to write it down or I'll forget.
Okay,
that's why I write stuff down.
Yeah, all right. But at any rate, whatever you have to do, your personality-wise, that's what you want to do. But within those 4 areas and the added directional gatherings, you've got all you need to be a successful parent.
Man, okay, that's good. Oh, well, let's crash land it right there, and let's do this. I want to remind you, I'm going to put some links down in the show notes. Randy has a podcast, and if what we just walked through with the flow seems like it was quick, because it kind of was, they can access your podcast. I'm going to link to the show where you talked about it. I'm also going to link to your mini course, to some other next steps that they can take, to some of the books, the resources that you've got out there, and they can contact you.
Absolutely.
So if they got a question, they can just reach out and take that conversation even farther. I think I'll sign off with this. Just remember that, as we said earlier, God uniquely designed you as the parent for the kids that you have. And He uniquely designed those kids for you as the kids that they are. He knits people together, not only individually, but also in the families they belong in the times and seasons and the places where they live. So it's all by design. And when you realize that what's happening to you, what you're going through with the kids, high, low, everything in between, it's been sovereignly ordained by Him for your growth, for His glory, for the good of you, for the good of those kids. Oh, it all makes so much more sense. So join Him in the great work that He's already started and He promises to complete.
Yeah.
All right? We'll see you soon.